There were some good moments with Serial Rabbit 1, but at least in terms of what I was looking for, it went off in not a great direction. This was released in 2025. It's directed by Brett William Mauser, and it's written by Mauser with a cast including Bradley Bates as our bunny rabbit. And in case this information is useful for anybody, Amazon Prime says the 2005 cult classic returns with new music, effects, and additional scenes. And I don't know if that means that the 2005 version, which I haven't seen, it's called Serial Rabbit, also directed by Brett William Mauser. I don't know if it means it's exactly the same with some small tweaks, but according to IMDb, that one's set in Austin, while this one's set in San Antonio. So if you've seen the other one and know how they compare, please feel free to let me know. I doubt I'll watch the other one. It starts off really well because a bunny rabbit, somebody dressed in a bunny suit, is being interrogated, and we find out that this is, of course, our serial killer dressed as a bunny rabbit. And for the first maybe 15 minutes or so, we have scenes going back and forth between the interrogation scenes and scenes of the bunny rabbit doing these murders. And I love that. I love anything that's interrogation, courtroom, anything that has a legal angle when it comes to horror. Absolutely love. And the scenes themselves where we saw the murders, they were creative, they were well done, and I thought, brilliant. This is what the film is going to be about. We're going to get a look at the bunny's killings, and the first couple, they were very different, so I thought we're going to have a lot of different characters, different scenarios, and then we'll have the interrogation scenes in between. And unfortunately, after 15 minutes, I really kind of hated the next 20, 30 minutes. We're focusing more on other characters. There are hardly any killings, although there is one that made me laugh a little bit. I'll talk about that with a spoiler warning in a moment, maybe. And it is a comedy horror. And the characters were just so irritating and so annoying, and it's so poorly written. And it got off to such a strong start. And I feel like they were trying to make it something it wasn't. I feel like maybe they looked at the beginning and thought, well, we need to flesh it out. We need to get to know some of the characters more. And I can understand the thinking, but it just didn't work. At least in my opinion, I don't think it worked very well. The rabbit is there a little bit here and there, but definitely not enough. We do cut back to the interrogation scenes, but very few and far between. So I didn't really like the bulk of the middle of the film. I won't say what happens towards the end, but it does pick up a little bit. We're never going back to quite the beginning, to the quality of the beginning, but it does pick up a little bit. But the bulk of the middle film, I just think, was a really poor decision. It's not very well written. It's not interesting. It's not scary. It's not gory. It's not that funny, apart from one thing. And as I said, I'll share with the spoiler warning the bit in a moment that genuinely did make me laugh. So it doesn't really have anything to offer for the bulk of it, and I just wish they'd not tried to make it something it wasn't and just stuck with the basic concept of a serial killer dressed as a bunny rabbit being interrogated, and then on screen we get to see all of these different killings. They didn't need to pad it out with unnecessary characters and a lot of boring scenes that don't really have anything to offer. I watched characters playing pool or snooker. I don't know the difference. That one's on me. I don't know the difference. For a tremendously long time. It felt like a very long time. So the bulk of it's not great. And it's a shame because I started off in the first 15 minutes thinking, I have a lot of praise for this. I'm going to really thoroughly enjoy it. And I think it had an awful lot of potential. And it just didn't deliver. I will say I liked the fact that the bunny rabbit doesn't talk. I really like that. We don't really know who this killer is. Well, that's not true. We do get a bit of the character's backstory, but we don't necessarily know who they are today. And I think that worked really well. I feel like because we're not really chipping away at who the character is today, the character could walk past you and you wouldn't know who they are because, well, unless they're wearing the bunny suit, obviously. But if they were out of the suit, they could talk to you, they could walk past you, you wouldn't know it was them. And I liked that. I think it gave it a mysterious element. The character of the serial killer bunny, I thought, worked very well. It's just, unfortunately, the bits that I liked were very short-lived. And I really didn't like the bulk of the rest of the film. I like the bunny suit. I like the appearance of the costume. I thought that looked quite good. But in general, it could have been so much more, and I think they tried too hard to fill it with padding and fluff, and I guess to try and give it a bit more substance, but I think it wasn't necessary, and it doesn't work very well. So it's not a great film. I don't really recommend it, But I do recommend the first 15 minutes. I thought they were very, very good. So, didn't love it. I thought I was going to thoroughly enjoy it, but it was rather disappointing. I will now tell you the one bit that genuinely did make me laugh. So it's I guess a spoiler for what I consider to be the funniest moment. And I won't go into too much detail, but it's when there are two characters in a vehicle and one of them gets completely smashed. I don't mean drunk, I mean their face is completely smashed in, and the other character just has a very unrealistic reaction to it, but that's the comedy. And I genuinely found it to be funny because the whole scene was just ludicrous and it worked really well. The rest of it, not funny in the slightest, but a little bit gory, nothing extreme. I think the main reason it could have worked would be the character of the bunny, which I think was done quite well. And the beginning, and giving us what I thought was going to be a big range of different murders, different killings, different characters and scenarios, and that could have been quite exciting. And then the interrogation scenes were really cringy towards the end as well, the interrogation scenes. I stopped enjoying those towards the end. But I'd say the interrogation scenes for the bulk of the film were pretty good. So do I recommend it? Check out the beginning. And then maybe continue watching it. It might appeal to you. But I'd certainly say the beginning's worth watching. The bunny as a character, definitely quite interesting. So Serial Rabbit 1, not a good film. It had a lot of potential. But unfortunately, after the first, and it is 15 minutes, I did time it. I went back to see the point at which things changed. After the first 15 minutes, it stopped being a good film. As I said, I don't know if this is a complete like-for-like remake of the earlier film from 20 years ago, or if it's just the same concept. I don't know, I haven't seen it. Maybe I'll watch it one day, but it's not going on my to-watch list just now. And for now, I can sum up by saying Serial Rabbit 1 had a lot of potential. There are a couple of good aspects, but unfortunately, it went off in what I think is the wrong direction, and ultimately, it wasn't a great film.